Hello everyone. Today, I will be discussing the International Maritime Convention, or IMC. This video aims to explain how international conventions play a vital role in ensuring the safety, security, and environmental protection of ships and the seas. However, to understand how international maritime conventions operate, it is important to first understand the role of the United Nations. The United Nations, or UN, is an international organization established in 1945, following the end of World War II. The foundation of the UN began with the signing of the UN Charter on June 26, 1945 by 50 countries. This charter came into force on October 24, 1945, marking the official establishment of the organization. The UN was designed to replace the League of Nations, which had failed to prevent global conflict. So, learning from past failures, the UN was structured to be more inclusive, cooperative, and effective in maintaining international stability. As of July 14, 2011, South Sudan became the 193rd member state in the UN, and there has been no addition since. Each of the member states are recognized as sovereign states and have equal representation in the UN General Assembly. In addition to that, the UN also has permanent observer states, which are the Holy See, Vatican City, and the State of Palestine. All these countries work together to address international issues, such as security, development, human rights, and global governance. The United Nations operates through several principal organs, each with specific responsibilities. These include the General Assembly, where all member states are represented and can discuss global issues. The Security Council, which is responsible for maintaining international peace and security. The Economic and Social Council, which focuses on economic development, social progress, and international cooperation. Additionally, there is the International Court of Justice and the UN Secretariat, which supports the organization's daily operations. Together, these bodies form the core governance structure of the United Nations. Beyond its main organs, the United Nations also works through a network of specialized agencies. One key specialized agency relevant to maritime management is the International Maritime Organization. In 1948, an international conference in Geneva adopted a convention to establish a permanent maritime organization. This convention entered into force in 1958. However, in Malaysia, the convention entered into force on June 17, 1971. As of February 27, 2024, Kyrgyzstan is the 176th member state of the IMO, and there has been no addition since. Additionally, IMO has 3 associate members: Faroe Islands, Hong Kong, and Macau. The IMO's most important function is the development of the 68 international maritime conventions to regulate global shipping. The development of IMC did not happen overnight. One of the most significant turning points was the Titanic disaster in 1912. This tragedy exposed major weaknesses in maritime safety, including insufficient lifeboats and poor emergency procedures, which led to the creation of the SELAS, which remains the most important maritime safety treaty today. Following major incidents such as the Torrey Canyon oil spill in 1967, the IMO introduced stronger environmental regulations, including the MARPOL Convention, which addresses pollution from ships in all forms. In later years, the IMO also addressed seafarer training for competency through STCW and maritime security through the ISPS Code. Another important UN specialized agency is the International Labour Organization. The ILO was established in 1919 following the end of World War I, making it one of the oldest international organizations. It later became part of the United Nations system in 1946. As of February 24, 2016, Kingdom of Tonga became the 187th member state, and no additional members since. The ILO plays a crucial role within the broader framework of IMC. In the IMC, ILO's most significant contribution is the Maritime Labour Convention, or MLC 2006. The convention entered into force on August 20, 2013, and was ratified by Malaysia on the same date. Often referred to as the Seafarer's Bill of Rights, the MLC establishes minimum standards for working and living conditions at sea. It covers aspects such as employment conditions, accommodation and food, health protection, and social security. This ensures that seafarers are treated fairly and work in safe environments. Malaysia has a proactive involvement by ratifying 19 ILO conventions and 1 protocol. Out of 19, 15 are currently in force. This demonstrates Malaysia's alignment with global labor practices and its responsibility towards workforce welfare. Picking up from where we left off, how are these IMC rules created, and what do they actually look like in practice? An International Maritime Convention, or IMC, is a set of rules and agreements developed by the IMO and the ILO. These conventions ensure that ships worldwide follow standardized safety, environmental, and operational requirements. Over time, as global shipping expanded, additional conventions were introduced to address new challenges such as pollution, crew welfare, and maritime security. In the context of Malaysia, the country has ratified 31 out of 69 conventions, demonstrating its commitment to international maritime standards. These conventions can be broadly classified into 5 main categories: safety, environmental protection, human element, liability and compensation, and maritime security. 1. Safety conventions. These focus on ensuring that ships are properly designed, constructed, equipped, and operated to prevent accidents at sea. The first one is the SALAS Convention, which sets minimum safety standards. The Load Lines Convention, which regulates how much cargo a ship can safely carry. The Tonnage Convention, which defines how ship tonnage is measured. The Colreg Convention, which establishes rules to prevent collisions at sea. The Inmarsat or IMSO Convention, which supports global maritime communication to enable distress alerts and safety coordination at sea. Together, these conventions act as the technical backbone of maritime safety. 2. Environmental conventions. These aim to protect the marine environment from pollution caused by ships. The most comprehensive example is maritime pollution, which regulates pollution from oil, chemicals, sewage, garbage, and air emissions. The Oil Pollution Preparedness, Response, and Cooperation or OPRC Convention, which ensures countries are ready to respond to oil spills. The OPRCHNS Convention, which extends OPRC to hazardous and noxious substances. The Anti-Fouling Systems AFS Convention, which protects the marine environment from toxic impacts of biocides and chemical compounds used in ship hull paints. The Ballast Water Management BWM Convention, which prevents the spread of invasive aquatic organisms and pathogens. This category ensures that shipping activities do not harm ocean ecosystems. 3. Human Element Conventions. These conventions recognize that safe shipping depends not only on ships, but also on the people operating them. The Maritime Labor Convention, MLC, the STCW Convention sets standards for the training and certification of seafarers, ensuring they are competent and qualified. This category ensures that maritime operations are both safe and humane. 4. Liability and compensation conventions. These conventions deal with what happens when accidents occur, particularly in cases of pollution or damage. The Civil Liability Convention, CLC, establishes the responsibility of shipowners for pollution damage. The Fund Convention provides additional compensation to victims. The LLMC Convention, which limits shipowners' financial liability in maritime claims. The Bunkers Convention, which provides compensation for oil pollution damage from ship fuel. The Nairobi Wreck Removal Convention, which holds shipowners responsible for removing hazardous wrecks. This category ensures accountability and financial protection in the maritime industry. 5. Maritime security and other conventions. These conventions address threats such as terrorism, piracy, and unlawful acts at sea. The SUA Convention criminalizes acts that threaten maritime safety. The Facilitation Convention, which simplifies port clearance procedures and reduces delays in international shipping. This category ensures that global shipping remains secure in an increasingly complex risk environment. The status of these conventions are tracked through the Global Integrated Shipping Information System, or GISIS. It is managed by the IMO, which allows member states to report and monitor their compliance with international maritime regulations. This ensures transparency and accountability at the global level. While Malaysia has ratified 31 conventions, the remaining 38 conventions that have not yet been ratified may be due to the differences in national priorities, technical capacity, or readiness for implementation. Nevertheless, this alignment is essential for international trade, as it allows Malaysian ships to operate globally and foreign ships to enter Malaysian ports under standardized rules. Now that we understand how IMC are developed and structured, the next question is, how are these rules actually applied in real life? IMC operates as a complete system. At the global level, conventions are developed by the IMO and ILO. These are then adopted by countries and translated into national laws, often known as acts. These acts are supported by detailed regulations, which define how the rules are implemented. For example, in Malaysia, the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952 serves as the main legal framework for incorporating conventions such as SALAS, MARPOL, and CALREG. These acts are further supported by detailed regulations, rules, and notices that explain how the law is applied in practice. For instance, Malaysia's shipping notices are issued to implement specific requirements such as fuel standards under MARPOL or crew procedures under the Maritime Labor Convention. Finally, enforcement is carried out by maritime authorities through inspections and compliance checks. Enforcement is carried out by national authorities, including the Marine Department and the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency under the Maritime Enforcement Agency Act 2004, ensuring compliance through inspections, certifications, and penalties. Flag states are responsible for ensuring that ships under their registry comply with regulations. Port state control authorities inspect foreign ships entering their ports to verify compliance. For shipping companies and port authorities, the IMC acts as a compliance checklist. Every vessel must meet the requirements set by these conventions. Failure to comply can result in fines, legal penalties, or even detention of the vessel, which can disrupt operations and damage reputation. Through this process, international agreements are transformed into enforceable legal obligations within Malaysia. However, the system still faces challenges, such as weak enforcement in some countries and the use of flags of convenience to bypass stricter regulations. This highlights the need for continuous cooperation and improvement within the global maritime system. In short, the IMC forms the foundation of global maritime governance, providing the blueprint for safe and sustainable shipping. The national acts give the legal force, the regulations make it operational, and enforcement ensures compliance. Together, they create a complete system that keeps global trade flowing smoothly. Without this system, the oceans would not connect the world, they would divide it. Thank you for watching and see you in another video.